whether it is Asia, whether it is Africa, whether it is Southern America, the issue of climate change is something that is causing migration and therefore a huge human rights issue. And first we talked about how climate change because of armed conflict. Second is, in armed conflict, if we have one kind of disastrous effect, then that major disastrous effect among many other things is migration. And that migration, how it is affecting, if you map multiple rights violations, and these rights violations, whether in Africa or Asia, they are same. So if we look at these migrant population, they were aptly called as environment refugees. Now they are more specifically called as climate refugees, and their multiple human rights violations are evident in this Associated Free Press's documentary. In the beginning, it may not be visible, but afterwards it becomes a slow set phenomenon, and it causes this kind of outcome. So the driver is environmental, political, demographic, economic, social, if you look at migration as such. And personally, it will intervene. Sometimes it is facilitator also. And then it is influenced by the environmental change. And either people choose to leave, which is migration, or people are forced to leave, which is displacement. I gave you the examples. So in case of those who stay, like we have a famous film in Kannada, Dvipa, they become trapped when the flood is rising and they are not able to escape. There is no support system. And those who choose to stay also become immobile because of that. So we see these stories which don't get reflected in the mainstream media, which is all about fashion and urban happiness. If you go as alternative journalists to these remote areas, you will have this experience. So the question here is whether climate change will contribute more and it will worsen these effects. There are traditional migration routes. As far as India is concerned, rural to urban, and other cities to cosmopolitan, metropolitan cities. A main magnet of migration in North India has been Delhi, and in South India, in other parts of India, Bombay has been the one, because Bombay is considered as the land of hope, city that never fails. So large scale migration happens. And as those states get improved, this migration stops. Now we see a lot of Northeast and Bengal contributing to migration, Bihar contributing to migration. So with situation improving in those states and more jobs being created, opportunities being created, it changes. Formerly we used to have UP people migrating a lot, but Ayodhya itself provided so many jobs. So they change. But as far as climate migration is concerned, it is mainly those migration corridors become new. They are newly developed. For example, we studied disaster and human trafficking. We saw the migration routes from rural areas of West Bengal, flood-prone areas, and from the Gorakhpur area becoming the red light bound area as far as little girls and women are concerned. Then growing number of people don't come because they become trapped, because they have the mediating factors like unawareness, poverty, not being able to walk, or their children, or they're weak, or they may be even, you know what happened in Syria. When the refugees were asked to give money, they sold everything, gave money, and they were brought in very dangerous condition, and they lost their family as well to the sea. So there are new rackets also which operate. So all these factors add to the new waves in migration, which may be driven by climate change with new routes. So if you look at international climate change law and policy, on the whole, when we are trying to integrate today's study in terms of climate change litigation as a tool and climate change related conflicts, climate change related impacts, the Paris Agreement's 2030 agenda of sustainable development provides the proper framework where it has integrated all the factors, and it gives a good governance, climate governance landscape where it connects states, non-state workers, structures and institutions. And it also looks at coalitions of the willing, in which some nation states have come together, some experts bodies have been created, technical and other bodies are created. But the impact is mostly technical and other impacts are yet to happen, because states' willingness has to be there. The major contributors have to be more committed. So, by itself, climate change governance landscape cannot be yielding any result unless it is reformed in such a way that it gives better clarity in the approaches and it incentivizes those who practice. So, for the future, it is a major challenge. And many leaders are emerging, like Mr. Modi with that G20 agenda, try to do a lot because Global South has got this